Okay. Let's see who else is waiting. Let's give it another 60 seconds and then we'll get started. Okay, we'll get started now. So welcome to the Workspace Wednesday. These are the end user updates for last month, so October 2025. Not the technical ones, just the end users. Technical ones are tomorrow. There's fewer of the technical ones, so we're going to be doing something different at the start of Techie Tuesday, Techie Thursday, if you come to that at the same time tomorrow. So first update that we've got here is to do with your mobile devices. Now, on a Chromebook or on a laptop, if you've got the Chrome browser, you've always been able to sort of like change your background within a Meet. So now on Android or on iOS, if you've got a Google phone or an Apple phone, you can now generate an AI-generated meeting background to either just obscure your backgrounds or put something fun in the background. This one is just, we've had a few updates about Google Chat apps and different sort of like integrations that you can do. So for example, you've got the example now, if you want to look for a poll, for example, within Google Chat, just by putting in the /poll, it'll be able to pull up a polling app that you'll be able to use. So it's just what they've done is they've just sort of like simplified the integration. This one is, you've probably seen this already since it came in the beginning of last month, but now if you create a calendar event in your calendar, you can have it automatically set within the calendar settings to actually take notes for you. So you don't have to remember or forget to take notes. So if it's a regular, for example, regular scheduled meet that you might have, and you want to be able to have the Gemini meeting notes, which are very, very useful. We always use them for these sessions, but we use them for other sessions as well, so that if we're sort of like advising a client or talking through things like security and things like that, we will turn on the Gemini Meet notes, and it will then give a summary of everything that had been said. But it would also, the very useful thing about them is it will give you points of action. So Gemini will analyze the meet, who said what, who said who's going to action what, and it will put that at the bottom of those meeting notes, which is always useful. So think about it. If you haven't been a governor myself, that would have been absolutely priceless in a governor meeting. If we were doing it on Google Meet, for example, is that you wouldn't need to wait till the next governor meeting to get your minutes of the meeting. It would literally just be all transcribed, what was said, who was going to do what, before you even went into the meeting. This one is client-side encrypted emails. So now it's basically end-to-end encryption. You can send them now to anybody, even if they've got a different email provider. So it's just an addition to keeping things a little bit more secure when it comes to sending to different email providers. This next one is different from emojis and things like that. You can still use emojis and GIFs and things like that, but you can now use stickers within your Google Chat functionality. So you can see there, you've got GIFs or you've got stickers, and you can just add them in. I suppose it's just a little bit of fun. One of the Googlers probably got a bit bored and thought, what can I do to make it more interesting? This one's could be very useful, actually. This allows you to set a timer within your Google Meet, so that you can actually turn a timer on. You as the host can control it, or a co-host can control it. But if the host controls it off, then anyone in the meeting can manage it. So if you're having a round table, for example, and you want everyone to give sort of like a 2-minute presentation, or 2 minutes worth of ideas over something that you're discussing, turn on the 2-minute timer, and then everyone can see when they've. I know certain colleagues of mine probably wouldn't like the idea that there's a timer on what they had to say, because some of them like the sound of their own voice a little bit too much. But that's what the timer's for. This one, I don't know whether ladies on the call would use this or not. This is AI powered makeup in Google Meet. So where we've had the ability to change backgrounds, blur backgrounds, and all the rest of it, we now have the ability, should you want to put makeup effects on your face. Not something I intend to do. I've never been into makeup, but were you to try it, give it a go, see what you look like in a Google Meet with makeup on. This one is, again, this is for a mobile. This was an update that was from a few months ago, where if you've got, you could use Gemini to summarize sort of like Google Docs and Sheets and things like that directly within a Chrome browser. Now it's available on mobile as well. So you can basically, if someone sends you a document within Google Chat, for example, as it says here, and you're on chat on your mobile, you can just ask Gemini to summarize that document for you. So you're not having to, the same way that it's doing now with email conversations in Gmail, it will give you a summary at the top of the email of, basically the salient points in the email chain, which is very useful, particularly if you have a very long email chain. So this now does it for docs within the chat app on your mobile phone. This one is, again, using Gemini. A lot of these updates are Gemini based. So this is within Gmail. Gemini will detect if you're trying to set up a meeting, say with a colleague or whatever, and it will actually look into your calendar and automatically suggest a time slot. So for example, if the person that you're trying to set the meeting up with wants a 30-minute meeting or an hour's meeting, it will pick that up within the email chain that you've got there, and then it will automatically suggest, based on your calendar, recommended time slots. Right, this was covered earlier, but this is now Google Keep now moving to tasks, and these will now automatically be, all the reminders and things like that will automatically no longer be in Keep. They will go into tasks, and if you've automatically got an existing thing with a time date stamp that it needs to be done today or needs to be done by next week, those timelines will automatically be moved across, so you won't lose any of the tasks that you have upcoming, so to speak. So this is more AI functionality, this time within Google Sheets. So there's now enhanced Google search results for up-to-date answers within a Google Sheet. So it gives you the example there. You can now use the AI function to find a daily box office schedule for newly released movies. Not that you'd be doing that in a school on a sheet, but or the latest if you're planning a vacation, for example, it says you can look up the latest weather information. So we've had audio overviews in the past. So now this is Notebook LM. You've now got the ability to do a video overview. So you take all of your data sources, so your documents or your slides and things like that, and you can turn it into a video that's not narrated by an artificial intelligence voice, which is, I suppose, a good way to sort of like pull information and turn it into like a little mini video that basically explains what you want it to show based on your target documents. This one is for the Gemini app in particular. So now, similar to at the minute in Gmail and things like that, you'll have your organization's logo, say in your inbox, for example, and things like that. It's now in the Gemini app as well. The The caveat to that is that your administrator would need to, for example, have uploaded your school or college logo into the Google admin panel, because that's where it pulls it from. If they haven't done that, then what it will do is it will just display, if you're on an educational account, it will just display, rather than the logo, it will just say EDU for education if you're on an education domain. So this one is again, using Gemini, using their AI in Sheets. So this can now sort of like understand what complex of using the Gemini sidebar there. You can perform big edits to your sheet, and it will put it in like plain English for you, basically, and just let Google take care of it. Again, this is to do with AppSheet Enterprise Plus. So you have to be a user for AppSheet Enterprise Plus, and you can now use the AI of Gemini within your AppSheet automations. And it will basically, so the example there is, it will take a photograph of a book and it will extract key information from that photograph for you. Another addition to the Google Sheets, it now analyzes the data in a sheet across multiple tables. So in the past, it would just be able to be on the table that you're currently on, but now it will go across multiple tables within a single tab of a spreadsheet. Right, this one is converting rubrics in Google Classroom from Drive or from local files with help from Gemini. So if you've got existing, say, Drive files and things like that, that you want to actually use within the Google Classroom setting, then you can ask Gemini to kind of like convert that file, and it'll instantly turn it into a rubric that you can use in the classroom, and you don't need to enter that information manually. So again, another time-saving thing more than anything else. So this is Ask Gemini in Google Meet coming to Workspace Enterprise customers. This is already on our domain. So basically, if you're in a Google Meet and you can quickly ask Gemini to summarize what's been going on. So, for example, if you come into a Google Meet late, for example, you can get a quick summary from Gemini of what's already been discussed, and then catch up what you've missed if you join late. You need to have the note-taking turned on in order for that to happen. So if the note-taking is turned on and someone comes in 10 minutes late to a meeting, they can just click the Ask Gemini button and get a summary of what's already been spoken about. This one's an interesting one. They've now introduced a new waiting room experience in Meet. So you can turn on, if you set up a Meet within your calendar, you can turn on the fact that people go into a waiting room. So you go into a waiting room and you either admit them or you deny entry to them. But you can move people, if you've got someone in the Meet, I'm thinking governors again or something like that, and one particular governor has declared an interest and they're allowed to be part of the Meet discussing that subject, you can move them back into the waiting room while that subject is discussed. And then once everyone's happy that it's been discussed, the person with the pecuniary interest, for example, can then rejoin the meeting. New LaTeX features in the Gemini app. So the LaTeX rendering PDF export capabilities. These are for documents that tend to be of scientific, technical nature. So if you're creating docs, in the past, as it says there, you need in the past to have a very specialized editor and have significant technical expertise in order to sort of like find and fix errors. So with this, Gemini just makes it easier if you're making an academic paper or a scientific paper or a technical paper, it will make a high quality document for you. This one again, within the again using Gemini, this is the ability to create slide presentations within the Gemini app through Canvas. So you can, I mean, I've already used this, and it's quite remarkable what it does. You can just tell Gemini, create me a slide deck about this, include images about this, you know, pull in information about this, and it will pull it into Gemini, create it. If you're not happy, you can refine it within the Gemini app, and then once you're happy that that's the slide deck that you want, you just click export to Google Slides, and it will save it to your Google Drive. So very, very useful, and it gives you examples there of what educators can use it for, what students can use it for. So very, very, like I say, I've used it myself, and it's amazing. Okay, so improve your writing by grinding Gemini and Google Doc and sources. So if you've got sort of like, again, sources of data, and you want Gemini to sort of like analyze those sources of data when you're writing, for example, you can use the slide bar and tell it just to focus on that content, not going off into the LLM to look at anything else it might find out there. It will just look at the content that you're telling it to look at. Okay, so they've made some changes to pivot tables and connected sheets. I won't bore you with the details of that, but effectively I've put in bold there what you need to know. They're doubling the row capacity for pivot tables. So that's going from 100,000 to 200,000 rows. So if you're using sort of big query data sets and things like that, you've got more row capacity to deal with. And they're also launching the ability to drill down into the connected sheet pivot tables so that you can get better understanding of the data. And that is it for October. Our next updates will be the last one of 2025. Will be on Wednesday, the 10th of December for the end user updates. And tomorrow we will do the administrative updates. So I'll just stop sharing. Couldn't find my meat there for a while. All right, Dave. I didn't see you pop in there. You're on mute. Andy?
Good, thanks, James. How are you?
Yep, not too bad. Quite a few. Any updates there that stood out?
Oh, no, there's a lot of Gemini stuff in there, isn't there, really? Which I guess is to be expected. It's still working its way through, but the integrations look pretty quick. While you were doing some of his stuff, some of the people in the chat were talking about some of the new flows, which I've seen but not tried. It might be worth a chat about those. I think the main ones you went through, James, are just incremental, aren't they? But
yeah,
all little nice to have. I'm not quite sure about the makeup, but
yeah, I think you'll. I
haven't found anyone who likes the makeup. Everyone's like, you could have done so much more.
Yeah,
I'd like
to have a go.
I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them make it maybe so that you use the host can force makeup onto other people, and give Mr. Van Halen a bit of a shock next time he's in a meet.
Yeah, why not?
Wear it tomorrow, James.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, tell him to wear his makeup tomorrow. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the like I say, a lot of it is more and more and more. Every single part of the Google sphere is Gemini integrated now, and it's going to get, you know, to the point where Gemini will basically take it over. But it'll just, you know, as Richard said there in the chat, he's got an assembly next week, so he's currently using Gemini to create himself a slide deck for his assembly, and that's exactly how you should use it. It's kind of like, I need to do an assembly about this. Tell Gemini, create me a slide deck about this. Put the visuals in there. Put a voiceover, and it'll just generate it for you. And you can always, like I say, you can always tweak it, and you can also, like say, change the background on that, or make that font large, or add another slide in that says this, and it just does it for you. It's quite remarkable. Anyone else got any comments on some of the updates?
I like the idea of the fact that they're finally putting into things in Google Meets the suggestions that we made during COVID that probably took about half an hour for a work experience boy to code, like a timer. So it's good that they're still developing that, because yeah, there are times I can see that's going to be useful. So it is good to still see that. The pivot tables thing probably means that perhaps we don't have to go to BigQuery for quite so much.
Yeah.
Which is good news, because I don't particularly use BigQuery well myself. But yeah, some good things there.
Tracy?
For me, it's the analysis across sheets,
Yep.
multiple sheets, rather than having to do one thing at a time or copy and pasting stuff in. I know it's only seconds or minutes it saves, but
Yeah, they all add up though, Tracy, don't they? You think about over the course of a week or over the course of a month, all those seconds and minutes add up.
And also not having to then necessarily, you know, where sometimes you link worksheets into worksheets and just so that you get overviews.
Yep.
Not having to do that will be a blessing.
Yep. Yeah, that's why we like doing these updates, because there's always a little something other than the makeup. I think someone just did that for a bit of fun. I honestly do, but other than that, you know, all these little things, they help us, don't they? It's time saving, and it's sort of like if you can get the AI to do it for you, why not? You know.
The makeup, apparently, it was one of the most requested features.
Really, that surprises me.
But I'm guessing not by teachers.
That would be interesting to find out who actually, you know, what demographic actually requested that. I mean, it must have been one of the most requested features if they've actually done it.
Mm.
But you would think if you're going into a meet and you know, if you're a lady and you're going into a meet, you probably have your makeup on anyway. So why do you need artificial intelligence to put makeup? Unless you'd forgotten to put your makeup on, of course. I don't know. I'm confused by it, but I just think it's funny.
I think we should all have a go and put some on now.
If anyone starts playing with flows and gets it to work across multiple calendars where they've got access within the domain, but they don't necessarily own it, to say, I don't know, look at something and make notes or add an attachment, or do you know what I mean? Where they could maybe read the events and put a briefing up together. Let me know, please.
I think the request that I think the timer on the meet, like I said, is going to be useful for people who like to run their mouths. And if you've only got a certain amount of time on the meet and you don't want someone sort of like dominating the meet, having the timer there would be great. I think the suggestion that I would put to Google is once you've put a timer on someone, mute their mic after say you give them 2 minutes, mute their mic so that they realize that time to stop speaking. Could be quite interesting.
It goes back to the suggestion about using it for parents' evenings, doesn't it? Parent-teacher conferences and the like.
Yeah,
that's what happens with. Oh my goodness, what's it called? The platform that everybody moved to during lockdown. There's a platform that you can do your parents' evenings on remotely, and it just counts down and cuts you off at the end of it.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what that's called. And that's actually, you know, I haven't done parents' evenings myself. You've only got a certain amount of time with each parent, and occasionally you will get some parents that don't appreciate that there are another, 25 parents sitting waiting to speak to you. So yeah, I suppose that would be useful in that regard. I can't remember what that platform is called. I know that my children's school used it.
Something obvious like school parents' evenings or something. It was
something like that, but it literally gave you a countdown, didn't it, on the screen, and then it was boom, you were cut off. Yeah. All righty. Well, if nobody's got any further comments, I will give you about half an hour. School Cloud, now owned by TES. All right. Thank you, Richard. I'll give you another half hour of your day back. And go and enjoy your lunch. Nice to see you all. And for those of you, again, same time tomorrow for techie updates. Not that many of the techie updates as there were the end user updates today. So we're going to do it slightly differently tomorrow. We're going to look at something first, and then we'll do the few updates that are on the admin side. So if you're available, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks ever so much, James.
Yeah, no
Thanks, James.
Good to see you.
Take care, everyone.